How's it going, guys? Welcome back to S3M2 Football and welcome to today's preview video. For this one, we're looking at some EFL or Carabao Cup action taking place later on this week on the 30th of October, that is this Wednesday. For this one, we're off to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London for Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester City. We start off our team analysis here with the home side being Tottenham Hotspur. The last 5 fixtures for Spurs have ended in 3 wins and 2 losses. Their last match was a 1-0 loss in the English Premier League this weekend away at Crystal Palace. In these last 5 fixtures, Spurs have scored 9 goals and conceded 6. So perhaps the Lilywhites are getting goals, but they're conceding far too many as well. The first player I'd like to talk about for Spurs has got to be English centre-forward Dominic Solanke. In 11 appearances for the Lilywhites, Dominic Solanke has scored 3 goals and contributed 2 assists. With Dominic Solanke, I think Tottenham Hotspur have a very strong, physical centre-forward who can play their target man role, just holding the ball up while his teammates get into better positions so that they can build something and he can just get finishes as often as he possibly can. Next up, I want to talk about English attacking midfielder James Maddison. In 12 appearances for Tottenham Hotspur this season, James Maddison has scored 2 goals and contributed 4 assists. With James Maddison, I think Spurs have a playmaker who is very creative no matter where he plays. He's got great passing range and accuracy, and he's very good at dribbling as well. And finally, I want to talk about Argentine centre-back Cristian Romero. In 10 appearances, Romero has scored just a single goal. But in Romero, I think Spurs have a centre-back who's also very strong, very physical, and who poses an aerial threat all the time. Cristian Romero will be winning balls in his own box from corners and set pieces, or he'll be doing the same in the opposition box and looking to score with headers as well. In terms of injuries for the Lilywhites, I think the major concern here has got to be South Korean Son Heung-min. He did miss that game against Crystal Palace that Spurs ended up losing, and I think Son brings a lot to this team. I think really everybody will just be hoping that he's ready and fit to play in this one, but I think even if he's not around, Coach Ange Postecoglou is still going to stick with his 4-3-3 formation. This team looks to counter out wide, with James Maddison just looking to play those balls to the wingers, and then the fullbacks with Destiny Udogie at left back and Pedro Porro at right back just look to rush forward at every opportunity to support the attack. These long diagonal balls are such an important part of Spurs' game. With Dominic Solanke playing as centre forward, he's able to be picked out with those long balls, winning the ball aerially, and then just looking to score. I think Solanke will be the centre forward of choice here because he does seem to be Ange Postecoglou's pick for all of the domestic fixtures. On to the away team. Now for Manchester City, the last 5 fixtures have ended in 5 wins. City's last match was a 1-0 win at home in the English Premier League this weekend against Southampton. In these last 5 fixtures, Pep Guardiola's Citizens have scored 15 goals and conceded just 3. The first player I'd like to talk about for Manchester City has got to be English left winger Jack Grealish. In 10 appearances, Grealish has just 2 assists, but I think in Grealish they have a wide man who's very quick, he's very tricky, he's got great close control and dribbling ability, and he's just a very creative player altogether. Next up, I think we can talk a little bit about English right winger Phil Foden. In 10 appearances, Foden has 2 goals and 2 assists. With Foden, I think City have a very flexible player who's able to adapt to playing in very different roles all over the pitch. This is a player who's got great close control, great dribbling ability, great passing range, but he's also very, very intelligent. For me, Phil Foden's ability to just adapt to a situation is what sets him apart from the rest of the players in this team. And finally, I want to talk about Croatian central midfielder Mateo Kovacic. In 11 appearances, Kovacic has scored 3 goals, and I think in this player, Manchester City have a midfielder who's able to operate as a deep-lying playmaker. He's very disciplined, he's got great awareness, so he knows where exactly the spots are that he can exploit, but he also knows where his team's weaknesses are and how to compensate for them. Mateo Kovacic also has great passing range, and he is able to pick players out from those deeper positions with great ease and great accuracy. In terms of injuries for Manchester City, with Rodri being out for a very long period of time with that ACL injury, Mateo Kovacic has just slotted into that position and he's now taken up that holding midfield role. But I think Kovacic brings something completely different to this team. Nevertheless, I think Coach Pep Guardiola is still going to be experimenting and changing his formation week in, week out with different players in different roles. But I actually think for this one, he's going to go with that weird little 4-1-4-1 formation that we saw him use throughout the month of October. I think City are still going to be looking to keep possession here, looking to just control the ball all the time, dictate the tempo and the speed of the game, and just playing a very patient build up game. With Kovacic operating deep as that playmaker, Grealish out wide with all of his creative ability, and then Phil Foden just being able to operate pretty much anywhere in the attacking third, I think Manchester City have more than enough firepower in their starting 11, and then on top of it on the bench as well, just to be able to do a lot in this fixture. Looking at the head to head between these two teams, the last five fixtures between Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester City have ended in one win for Spurs, one draw, and then three wins for Manchester City. So, obviously, based on that, we can see it definitely favors Pep Guardiola's team. In these last five fixtures, Tottenham Hotspur have hit the back of the net six times, while City have scored 10. So, there as well, it does look like the stats definitely do favor the citizens in this one. For me, when it comes to looking at Tottenham Hotspur, consistency is a major issue for this team. With Son not fit and not having hit form yet by his massive standards, I think this team is kind of struggling and they're looking to other players to now step up. City, on the other hand, look very, very good everywhere. Guardiola has been rotating his players and switching formations just to keep everybody on their toes, make sure his team is unpredictable, and just sort of cause a bit of chaos when the opposition coaches are trying to prep for the match. I think Guardiola is going to be looking at this fixture and thinking it is an unnecessary risk to let players like Erling Haaland and Bernardo Silva go out there and potentially get injured. I think what this does do, however, is give him a great opportunity to give other players a chance to play. We could see a lot more of Jeremy Doku. I think Jack Grealish in particular here really needs to be getting some game time. He's probably feeling as though he's frozen out of the team. And I think this is the kind of fixture where you can let this player remember how important he is to the overall game plan at this club. Ange Postecoglou, in his own right, has also done a bit of rotating in his team as well, particularly in that centre forward role. We've seen Richarlison play for Tottenham in those European fixtures in the Europa League, while we've seen Dominic Solanke operate more as the centre forward when it comes to the domestic fixtures instead. I think this fixture in particular really will just sort of sum up the priorities for these clubs. Tottenham could be still looking for any kind of silverware, and this is a great opportunity for them to put their best foot forward and try and get as far as possible in this competition and maybe even lift the EFL Cup at the end of the season. But I think when we look at Manchester City, they have their eyes on bigger prizes, the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup. That's where Guardiola wants his players to go all out. That's not to say they don't take this competition seriously, it's just fourth on a list of four trophies that they're looking to win this season. I think also looking at those last five fixtures and knowing that the last two wins for Manchester City actually came at Tottenham Hotspur's home ground means that there really isn't too much of a home ground advantage for the Lilywhites in this one. Spurs have struggled against City, and that's obvious, and I don't expect to see too much different here. When I look at the benches as well, City just seem to have so many more players who can come off the bench and just change the game for them. I think in terms of the psychological battle, I think Tottenham Hotspur have already lost that. I think City already know that their last two visits to Tottenham Stadium have reaped them so much reward, and just I think that's going to sort of bolster their confidence coming into this one. In terms of individual quality, Spurs do have some players who can do damage, but I think City have two players in all of those positions who can do damage instead. So in terms of individual quality, I think City are better there as well. Collectively, when you look at Spurs, sometimes this team looks like they're all on a different page. Sometimes players are going out wide and the ball is played centrally, or sometimes players are going central and then the ball is played out wide. So it looks like still there's a few creases that need to be ironed out. Whereas you look at Manchester City, this is a team where everybody's on the same page, everybody understands the game plan, everybody is sort of functioning with one hive mentality, and it shows with their results. So I think in terms of psychological battles, individual quality, collective quality, Manchester City look much better here. My final score prediction for this one is going to be Tottenham Hotspur 0, Manchester City 2. Hi, thank you for making it to the end of this video. We really appreciate the watch time and the fact that you took some time out of your day to spend it with us talking about the sport that we all love. If you enjoyed the content, why not, drop a like down below or comment in the comment section. Maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. And I mean, while you are here right now, have a look at some of our old videos too. They should be appearing on the screen right now, along with that subscribe button. So you know exactly what to do. Um, Thank you so much. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And have a great day out there. And we hope to see you again very, very soon. Thanks. Stay safe.